Hi, I'm Dr. Steve G. Jones, and welcome to Conversational Hypnosis, Absorption of Suggestion. Video 1, the importance of the script. Now, what is the significant role of the script? Well, it's important to have a plan when you're attempting to reach a goal. In this case, it's helping people overcome a certain challenge they're facing in life. And we all face challenges in life, and sometimes we talk in these programs about stage performances. In this case, we're talking about having someone overcome a challenge, working with them in what we might call a hypnotherapeutic way. Of course, we don't use the word hypnotherapy all the time because some states in the United States don't like that term unless you are a licensed therapist, and I'm sure other parts of the world have similar legislation around that, so you always want to look into that. But I'm talking about helping someone in this case. So each script is designed for a specific purpose. It could be designed to help people overcome a fear, gain confidence, or motivation to achieve a personal goal or even a professional goal, anything that they're actually working on. The script is like a roadmap. It helps you to steer the individual to an intended destination. So you're taking them along this path and using that script to get them there to achieve their own goals. So scripts should begin with a challenge and take the person through it, providing a solution, a way to overcome it, something they're looking at that they can overcome. So even in my everyday life, I don't like to call things problems when they arise. I like to call them challenges because a challenge is exciting. I can overcome a challenge. I get excited about a challenge. It's sort of like an athletic event. But a problem, that sounds insurmountable. So I like to use that word challenge even in everyday life. So I encourage you to adopt that habit as well. Look at things you have to do as challenges, not problems. Something comes up, it's a challenge. Challenge has a solution. Problem is daunting. So each part of the script takes the individual a step closer to self-improvement. And at the end of the script, the person should feel like they are ready to translate their newfound abilities into real life. Because let's face it, all they've done is listen to you say things. But they have to realize that they can take that power, that attitude, that information, and put it into their everyday life. So let's look at visualization. Why is visualization important? You'll hear visualization this, visualization that. Why is it important? Well, the script uses descriptive words to help the individual see the path of success. They can clearly envision what they should do. They can clearly see a path between where they are right now and where they want to be. And that's exciting. That's energizing. It's also practical because if you don't know where you're going, well, how are you going to get there? What are you even going to do to get there? Where are you going? It doesn't make any sense. So having them see their goal is very powerful. So descriptive words are used to help the individual see the path of success and of course the ultimate goal at the end of that path. The listener should be able to see and even feel what the hypnotist is saying. The words should be descriptive to all 5 senses. So when we say that, we're talking about VAKOG. Visual is V. Auditory is A. Kinesthetic is K. Olfactory, sense of smell, is O. And gustatory or taste is G. So the words should be descriptive to all 5 senses, or as many of them as make sense in that scenario. The person should be able to imagine certain smells, sights, and sounds. Gustatory is the one that doesn't always get used because when you're doing something like hiking in the woods, maybe you're not tasting anything. Maybe there's nothing to taste. So you wouldn't just force it in there in a script. You wouldn't say, now you taste the bark, because what if they shouldn't taste that bark? So you don't force things in there just to cover all 5 senses. If it doesn't make sense to have something to taste, leave it out. Most of my scripts don't have anything to taste. I have scripts for walking along the beach, talking about the induction part of the entire script. Realize that generally when we talk about scripts, we're talking about the middle part, the programming part, but we can also call an induction an induction script, and we can call a deepening script. So in most of my inductions and deepenings, there's no mention of gustatory. There's nothing to taste. And it's only mentioned in the script portion, in the middle programming portion, if it makes sense. So you do not have to use all 5 senses if that doesn't make sense. So think about this: basking in the sunlight while listening to the waves on the beach, or envisioning you're flying through space. Not really a place for injecting taste necessarily, unless it fits logically. So throughout the script, the individual is encouraged to envision themselves in different scenarios doing amazing things. So when you're programming someone for success, you are having them put themselves into this situation, that situation, the next situation, and everything is going well that day. Everything is working out. Because perfect practice makes perfect. If you want someone to do something well, have them imagine doing it perfectly. Now, perfect is something that we look at as a motivator, not reality. But if you want someone to do a really good job, have them imagine doing it perfectly. The person is encouraged to use their imagination to help them envision their greatness. And this greatness can then translate into the real world, which is what this is all about. It's about obtaining self-confidence now and using it later. You want the person to imagine they are slowly breaking through a roadblock, something that's held them back. They're pushing through it and feeling excited about that journey that they're on. The sole purpose of each visualization is to help the person with their challenge. Remember that. You're working in this sense, in what we're calling a hypnotherapeutic sense, to help someone overcome something, to help them get past it. If their challenge is fear, then you can have them envision doing something adventurous. Or if their issue is self-esteem, then you can have them imagine why they are cherished by friends and family. Now, maybe they're actually not fearless. Maybe they're actually not cherished by friends and family. But it's interesting. The more you feel a certain way, the more you get that from your environment. So if you start acting as if you're fearless and acting as if you're cherished, guess what? You become more loving. If you feel the people in your family and your friends love you and care about you, they can actually start doing that because you become more loving, you become more caring, you become more of a person who is deserving of those things because that's what you're giving to your surroundings. The descriptions can be actual, such as getting a promotion at work, or they can be symbolic, such as flying through the air with confidence. Common visuals involve serene settings, or celestial travel, or the workplace, or home life, or vacations and adventures in the great outdoors. The limits are not there. It's boundless, it's limitless, so be creative. These visuals can be very imaginative or realistic depending on the roadblock or the intended goal, and in many cases depending on the individual you're dealing with. So when we talk about visualization involving the 5 senses, let's say someone's imagining themselves as a powerful speaker. You see yourself standing in front of the crowd and they're watching you, so that's visual. You hear, this is auditory now, you hear the clapping at the end of your speech. And for kinesthetic, you feel how good your suit feels on you, or if it's a female, a dress, you feel how good the dress feels on you. You feel how good your clothing feels. You feel the temperature of the place you're in. Maybe it's a little cool because the air is down low. And that's how you feel then, but you make it real by involving the senses. Now, olfactory, maybe there's something to smell. Maybe, maybe not. If there is, put it in there. If it's not a logical fit, don't put it in there. Same with gustatory. Now, why is the hypnotist important, you might wonder? Well, everyone needs a helping hand every now and then. Every now and then, people need help. So the hypnotist is acting as the gateway between the person and what's perceived as impossible. So they may come to you thinking that what they want is out of their reach, that it's not a challenge for them. It's a problem because it's impossible. So you may have to clean up their language about it quite a bit. So you can think of the hypnotist as a coach. Their sole purpose is to help the person overcome fears and improve themselves. That's what the hypnotist is there for. If you are the hypnotist in this situation, that's what you're doing. That's the service that you're rendering. People turn to hypnosis because they have attempted other things and they haven't worked. Usually when I get clients, they've attempted everything. I used to joke and say they come to me right before they try leeching, before they try putting leeches on their skin to remove their blood and clean it up, something that was done eons ago. This is something that people usually don't resort to, hypnosis, because they have gotten to the point where nothing else has worked. That's when they're normally coming to a hypnotist's office. So you need to keep that in mind. The person has failed themselves. In their minds, they failed at a lot of things. Their diet, getting wealthy, being confident, whatever they're working on, in their mind they failed at it. So keep that in mind. And they probably think that this isn't going to work either. So keep that in mind as well. You've got to convince them that this is something different. This is the subconscious mind that we're working with. So the success of hypnosis is undeniable when done correctly, but a person's belief in it sometimes isn't where it needs to be, and so you need to ramp that up. The mind is a very powerful tool, and hypnosis shows the individual how to harness that power. So let's talk about the tone of the hypnotist's voice. It should be tranquil, yet empowering. So when I say that, I mean sort of like this. When you're delivering something hypnotic, talking like this is very powerful. So you notice how my voice is steady, doesn't stop, it keeps moving, but it's very calm. It's sort of like the calm person in any situation. They just know everything's going to be all right, and so they can talk like this. So that's what people are looking for. That's the power that you can convey, and that's how you can convey it. The voice you use should be peaceful, inspiring, and trustworthy. And the person should feel like they're listening to a dear friend encouraging them. So you are the one person in this world in that moment who believes in their ability, and it shows through your tone and your chosen words. So you're always talking in a very positive way. Only positive words should be used throughout the script. Keep that in mind too. The type of words you use will determine how the person thinks on a subconscious level. So you're in charge. You've taken control of their subconscious mind. And that's a good thing, actually, because they're in good hands. If they're in your hands, because you have their best intentions in mind. Make sure that you always do have their best intentions in mind, that you have the things that you intend for them to have in their lives are congruent with what they really want, with what they're coming to you for, the things that they intended to get from the session. So the type of words that you use will determine how they think on a subconscious level. So that's up to you to use powerful, positive words. And this is why it's important to only use that positive wording. Stay away from words such as can't or won't or don't or shouldn't. These words are to be avoided because people hear those and they don't resonate well with them. And there's a lot of information out there about people hearing about these words being negative. Sometimes they can be used in a sentence and it's okay. I suggest just staying away from them in a hypnosis session because some people are hyper vigilant about that. They hear the word and they think to themselves, you shouldn't be saying negative words such as can't and won't and don't. Even if you're saying you can't eat that cake or you won't be poor anymore, I would still find positive ways. You make other food choices. You will be wealthy from now on. That's the positive way of saying it. So focus on what can and will and should be done. That's going to be your best bet. And this helps keep the negativity down and reinforce positive thoughts. So realize that you are in charge. Now, let's talk about the length of the script. Is that important? Well, I feel that the length of the script is important. It's important for scripts to remain within a certain time frame. If the script is over a half hour long, well, you risk losing the person. They may tune out. Someone is not going to stay in hypnosis forever. They may wake up on their own, which will render the process ineffective. Everything after that point is no longer hypnosis. So the script also shouldn't be too short. A script that's under 10 minutes long isn't really long enough, in my opinion, to cover everything. You can do a hypnosis session in 10 minutes. You absolutely can. You can do it in 5 minutes. The script portion of a 5-minute hypnosis session can be 1 minute. So you can scrunch this down as much as you want. But if you've got a full hour with a person, why would you do that? You want to cover this from every angle you can think of. So the script, about a half hour long, the programming part, is very powerful in order to make sure you've covered everything. Why does the script work? Well, when the script is the right length and uses the right words, it helps the person believe what's being said on a subconscious level. Of course, you're programming them subconsciously because they're already in hypnosis. Your mind can be trained to think positively, and this is what the scripts help to do. When you develop scripts that are positively oriented, you're training their mind to think positively. When your mind believes on the subconscious level, believes anything on the subconscious level, it allows you to naturally think in that way, and in turn you act out on your newfound thoughts in a positive way. So you are completely changing the way this person interacts with their environment, which is having a very powerful effect on their life. The mind is able to manifest the things that it believes in. So this is why positive affirmations are a must. You should teach them positive affirmations. They can use not just when you're saying them in the hypnosis session, but they can use them in their everyday lives. And sometimes people feel silly saying these things, but they actually work. They actually become part of how you think about yourself. The mind is able to manifest things it believes in, which is why positive affirmations are an absolute must. So when you think positively, you do positive things. When you aim high, you achieve high. So if you think about it, everything that you've ever achieved, you achieved it because you believed that you could. Everything you didn't achieve, well, you either changed your mind, which happens, and that can be fine, or you just didn't believe that it would work out. So you didn't really go for it. So you want to give people you're working with the power to achieve their goals by giving them that positive boost in the right direction. I'm Dr. Steve G. Jones, hoping you have an outstanding day.